Welcome back to another class on Gemara Journey with Rashi. We are in Masechet Berachot Daf amud Aleph. This will be part 1 of the shiur. As a small reminder, every time we turn the daf, we start with a new part. So that's why this is part 1. We are 12 lines from the top of the Gemara, beginning with the words Ve'amar Rabbi Levi bar Chama. Before we begin today's class, I had a thought that I wanted to share with you, which bothered me yesterday. In yesterday's class, we said, Amar Rabbi Levi bar Chama, Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, Le'olam yargiz adam yetzer tov al yetzer hara. Always a person should provoke the good inclination against the bad inclination. Now, as we learned it yesterday, the Gemara is coming to give us advice on how to battle the Yetzer Hara in case we want to sin, chas v'shalom. So one of the things is that you should provoke the good inclination against the bad inclination. And Rashi said you should wage war with the Yetzer Hara, not to sin. If you didn't win, then Rashi says you should oisik b'Torah. If you didn't win, he says say Shema Yisrael. If you didn't win, think of the day of death. My problem was, why did the Gemara have to use the language le'olam? I mean, I defined it as always, but if I'm not doing no sin now, right? If I'm learning Torah now, why do I have to go ahead and start up with the Yetzer Hara if he's not bothering me? You hear my question? By the other things I can understand. Listen, if the Yetzer Hara comes right now, I don't know, Lolin, right? A person wants to watch something which he's not allowed to watch, chas v'shalom, or he wants to do an affair with a girl, or he wants to eat something not kosher. Okay, you could tell me, something, learn Torah, say Shema, think of the day of death. When that happens, then you start, using the advice of the Chazal. Now you start thinking, okay, I gotta learn Torah. Okay, let me go learn Torah. Amar Rabbi Levi bar Chama, Amar Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish. You start learning. You start going in the learning of the Torah in order to be able to push away the Yetzer Hara. I can understand that. Shema Yisrael with Kavanah, I can understand that when the Yetzer Hara starts overcoming me, when the Yetzer Hara starts overcoming me in order to do the Avera, I can understand. Say Shema, learn Torah, think of the day of death. But you're not telling me to think of the day of death all day. You're not telling me to learn Torah all day. You're not telling me to say Shema all day in order to stay away from the sin. And somehow when it comes to waging war with the Yetzer Hara, the language is lo'olam. Lo'olam yargiz adam yetzer tov al yetzer hara. Why would I want to provoke my good inclination against the bad inclination if I'm not doing anything yet? I'm davening shacharit, I'm davening mincha, I'm davening arabit. Why the word lo'olam? Lo'olam sounds like I'm doing sin, chas v'shalom. I'm doing sin. It sounds like there's a capability or a possibility that I can do an avera any given moment. So therefore, you tell me, lo'olam, always make sure that you are provoking the good inclination against the bad inclination, meaning wage war with the Yetzer Hara. What kind of advice is that? So that means what's happening right now is like basically the Gemara, in a way, if I can say it, is suspecting that we can fall at any moment. That's what's happening. Rabotai, listen carefully. When it comes to learning Torah, when it comes to saying Shema, when it comes to thinking of the day of death and not to sin, it doesn't say you should always be learning Torah, you should always be saying Shema, you should always be thinking of the day of death, not to come and sin. But when it comes to starting a war with the Yetzer Hara, you tell me always. Why always? Why the word always? You should have told me, okay, look, you should have said like this. When the Yetzer Hara overcomes you, when it starts overcoming you, and you have that temptation to go ahead and sin with another girl, or to do something what you're not allowed to do, speak Lashon Hara, start now provoking the Yetzer Tov against the Yetzer Hara. But don't use the word La'olam. You could have said easily. I'm going to give you 4 advices on how not to sin. Yargiz Adam Yetzer Tov al Yetzer Hara. Provoke the good inclination against the bad inclination. Wage war with the Yetzer Hara when the opportunity arises. But just to go and start, right now, okay, something, Yetzer Hara, I ain't letting you take over me. On what? I'm not doing anything wrong. So why would I want to wage a war with someone that's not doing anything to me yet? I hope you guys get the question. This bothered me throughout the whole day. And in my humble opinion, this Chazal is teaching us something very powerful. Why did the Gemara have to say Lo Olam? Do you know why? Because if you're not going to always wage a war, meaning if you're not going to be on the lookout not to chas v'shalom fall in the sin, it can happen instantly. It can happen without you being aware of it. Comes Chazal, they tell us, don't wait until the opportunity arises for you to sin. But rather what? Always be on the lookout. Always be waging war against the Yitzhar even before the sin comes to your hand. Because once the sin comes to your hand, it is almost impossible to overcome it. It is possible, but it's impossible. It's like you need Hashem's help. Like Chazal tell us that if it wouldn't be for Kadosh Baruch Hu's help, the Yitzhar would kill us. When we say kill, meaning he would make us sin like nothing. So in my humble opinion, I'm understanding the word of La'olam means that if they would never say it, I would have thought, when the opportunity arises for me to sin, now start provoking, or better yet, now start fighting yourself not to do Avera. No. Comes the Gemara says, don't do that. Because if it's going to be that case, there's a high chance you're going to lose. Before you even come to the sin, before you even come to that situation, start making fences. Start making safeguards all around you. Never to come to such a situation. That's why you use the word Lo'olam. Always, even before the sin arises. It might never arise. But always be on the lookout against the enemy that's trying to hunt you down, because all it takes is a split second. Did you ever see, somebody told me that the IDF soldiers, that they sleep in the uniforms, they sleep on the ground, they have these, camp bedding. But do you know how they sleep, some of them? They sleep on the floor, and they have their rifles, and they sleep with a gun like this. And one of the ways to test how if a soldier is prepared for war or not, before they send them out to war, they make everybody tired. Then they say you have to sleep with your gun, and now the instructor comes and he tries to pull the gun. So if the guy sleeps like this, he tries to pull it from him, see if he could grab it away. If yes, that means he failed the course. Because even when they're sleeping, they have to be holding the gun tight. They have to be prepared for anything at any given moment. Same thing with us. Just because you don't see something dangerous like sin coming your way, doesn't mean you're not going to sin now. Of course you're going to sin. It's going to happen so quick, you're not even going to pay attention how it happened. If a person just, he's never on the lookout. He's just living life, shacharit, min charavid, learning Torah. He goes to shul. When you come to shul, if you're not saying to yourself right now, all right, I got to be careful before I walk into the shul that people don't speak Lashon Hara to me. I got to be careful when I'm going outside that I don't see immodest woman. I got to be careful not to get angry. If you're not speaking to yourself like that, so now when you're walking outside and now somebody comes across you, an immodest girl, and now you look at her and you look at her, oh, what happened? I was not prepared for this. I was not ready. But that's what the Gemara tells us. Lo oilam yargiz adam yitzar tov al yitzar. Always allow the yitzar hara, always allow the yitzar tov to wage war with the yitzar hara. Even before you sit down to learn, what aver can I do now? The aver that you could do now is bittul Torah. So even over here, always you should be on constant guard that people shouldn't interrupt you during learning. Or during davening, the Yitzhar should come and take your kavan away from you. That's why, in my humble opinion, Rabotai, I'm understanding this Gemara. Lo'oila means always. Because it's the Yitzhar like this, like says, like Chazal tell us, sin crouches at the door. The Yitzhar, it waits. Like when you're off guard, it attacks. That's finished. But then it's too late. Because once it attacks, it attacks. So that's why, Rabotai, in my humble opinion, when I'm learning real Olam Yargiz Adam Yitzhar Tov Al Yitzhar Ra, it's not like the other things. Yeah, good. It's very good to Oisik B'Torah. It's very good to say Shema. It's very good to think of the day of death, which can help you after if let's say with all the guards that you put around you, all the fences that you put around you, and still somehow the Yitzhar was able to get in through a crack and make you speak Lashon Hara, or make you do an Avera, or Chas V'Shalom, sit with a girl, and you don't know how you're going to stop. You say, I prepared myself for this. I said, I'm not going to do it, and now somehow it happened. Next step, fine, let's go. That means you were caught off guard, you thought you were prepared to fight, you were waging war, but he got the better end of it. Next, always let the Torah do the job. Torah can't do the job, Shema. Shema can't do the job, think of death. But what are we beginning with? A person has to be constantly on guard with the Yetzer Hara. And it is so true, now that I'm thinking about it even more, it is so true. How many times do we sit down to learn and we have our phones? And in the middle of the learning, somebody texts us. In the middle of the learning, somebody calls us. So now the Yetzer Hara is smart. He made you sin, not with a girl, but he made you sin by doing Bittul Torah. That's it. A split second that he threw you completely off. You can't learn Torah Rabotai with your phone on. Impossible. Impossible. Don't tell me, sometimes you have people on the phone and they listen to the rabbi. There's no way, Rabotai, if you're learning real Torah. I'm not talking about you listening to Shurim, Musar, storytelling, that half that is not even Torah. I'm not speaking about that. Talking about real learning Torah, where you open the Shulchan Aruch, you open the Gemara, you open Rashi, Tosfos, the Rishonim, Achronim, you're learning Mishnayot, I don't know, you're learning Mamash inside Chumash. If you're on your phone or you're even doing something else where you're not able to focus, there is no way you could learn Torah. To learn Torah, you have to be able to go in nice one swoop. It has to be, everything connects. You guys don't understand. B'ezrat Hashem, when you guys have that opportunity one day, just to go back and just to do Chazar like we've been speaking about. Try to do Chazar Rabotai when you start from one piece. Try to go from the beginning to the end without interruption and with interruption. When you do it without interruption, somehow it's nuts. Somehow everything clicks, everything puzzles, one bam, 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 everything falls in place. It's clear, concise. But if you're in the middle, just got even a text message, and you took your mind off from Torah, bam, it's gone. We'll see that Rabotai is actually clear Gemara, also in this daf. But I just wanted to share that with you. Again, that's my humble opinion. I was very bothered by the word Lo'olam. What I need the word Lo'olam? For what? I'm not doing no errors. Because at any given moment, the Yetzer Hara can catch you off guard and he can make you sin. And now that I'm thinking about it, there was a real story in Yerushalayim. There's a sefer that's written about the dangers of a guy not having his phone filtered. So there was a very, very big Talmud Chacham. He used to write Sefarim. He used to write books, but they were not like thick books, but they were very like pamphlets. Not like 1 or 2 pages, but they were like notebook size, a good 40, 50 pages, but it was not a very big book. So one day, somebody offered him, it's like, why are you wasting your time always writing? Why don't you get a computer? And you on the computer, you type, you erase, it's much easier, blah, blah, blah. So over time, the guy learned. So now he started printing real books. It went from like these kind of books to like these kind of books. And he was like, every 3-4 months, he's publishing new books. One day, his wife realizes that he stopped publishing books. So she asks him, what happened? He says, I'm working on it. She's like, yeah, but it's not like you. Okay, at least something, but not 6 months to go without anything. So one day the husband went to shul. The wife walked into the room to do something because he had his own study room. And by accident, somehow she touched the mouse and it turned on the computer. And Rabotai, on the computer itself, without exaggeration, were tabs, one after another, of pornography. What the wife saw the whole time, that the husband was up till 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning writing the books, He was watching pornography the whole time. When the guy, before the guy came home, she took a baseball bat, she destroyed his computer, she broke the keyboard, she wrecked his whole room, and she went and sat on the couch like nothing happened. He walks in the house, she says, "How are you? How's everything? Is everything okay?" "Yes, yes." He says, "I'm gonna go continue writing my books." She said, "Go, no problem." He walks into the study office, he sees the chaos. Listen to this. Takes a suitcase, packs his stuff, and leaves the house, never to be found again. The wife herself wrote a letter. "I am begging somebody to please find my husband so he can give me a divorce, because now she can never get married." Do you see, Rabotai? From where did it all start? It doesn't take long. If we are not on guard against the Yetzer Hara, if we're not always, constantly on guard against the Yetzer Hara, we will lose the battle. That's when you're on guard. If you're always on guard, you have a 99% chance of winning. But it could happen that 0.1% chance the Yetzer Hara can get in somehow. Fine, then you use the other methods. But first, you always have to be on guard. You always have to wage war with the Yetzer Hara. You sit down to learn, immediately you wage war with the Yetzer Hara. I am not allowing you to waste my time. I am not allowing you to make me get up until I finish X, Y, and Z material. You start davening Shacharit and Charavit, you immediately tell yourself, you tell the Yetzer Hara, let's be strong, let's do this, let's have kavanah, let's not allow the Yetzer Hara to get into my head today again in my prayer. You say a bracha. Whatever you're going to do, that is the process, how it's supposed to be done. And automatically, your mitzvot, they start being done in a complete fashion, in a complete manner. And that's what, Rabotai, in my humble opinion, it means lo oilam yargiz adam yetzer tov al yetzer hara. Always provoke the evil, the good inclination against the evil inclination. And like Rashi says, Shi'aseh milchama im yetzer hara, that you should make war with the Yetzer Hara even before you come to sin. No, that is common sense. When you're already there, where you already could go ahead and sin, for sure we're going to tell you have to make war. But the novelty, in my humble opinion, is before the sin. Wage war, so you don't have to come to that. Okay, Rabotai, let's start today's class. I do apologize about that, but this is not a Musar class, it's a Gemara class, but I wanted to touch upon that word, lo olam. It really bothered me. Okay, let's get to work. Ve'amar Rabbi Levi bar Chama amar Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish. Rabbi Levi, the son of Chama, said in the name of Rabbi Shimon, the son of Lakish. My dichtiv, what does it mean when it's written in the verse? Ve'etana lecha et luchot ha'even ve'hatorah ve'hamitzvah asher katavti lehorotam. What does this pasuk mean when it says, and I will give you the luchot ha'even, the tablets made out of stone, ve'hatorah, and I will give you the Torah, ve'hamitzvah, and the commandments, asher katavti, that which I wrote, lehorotam, to teach them. If we look into Torah or Shalom in Ot Gimel, he tells us to look into Sefer Shemot, Perek Chav Dalet, Pasuk Yud Bet. Let's go see that now. I have it in the Sefer HaMikraot and on page Dalet. Vayomer Hashem, the commentary says, La'acher Matan Torah. All this, what we are about to read right now, happened after Matan Torah, when Hashem was speaking to Moshe Rabbeinu to come back up to the mountain to receive the Luchot. So you're asking yourself, of course, how could it be after Matan Torah? So you have to remember, What was Matan Torah? When they heard the 10 commandments, but it still was not given. But then Hashem said, come back and stay with me 40 days, where I can write everything in detail. So it says like this, Vayomer Hashem la'achar Matan Torah, and Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu after Matan Torah, Ale Elai Hahara, come up to me on the mountain. V'hiyeh sham, and you shall be there, 40 yom, 40 days. V'etena lecha, and I will give you, et luchot ha'even, I will give you the tablets made out of stone. V'ha-Torah, and I will give you the Torah. V'ha-mitzvah, and I will give you the commandments. Asher katavti lehorotam, which I wrote for you to teach them. So Rashi, the commentary says, lelamdam lisrael, that you should teach them to the Jewish people. So if we go back over here now, let's see the Gemara one more time. V'amar Rabbi Levi bar Chama amar Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish. Rabbi Levi, the son of Chama, said the name of Rabbi Shimon, the son of Lakish. My dichtiv, what does this verse mean? What's written? Ve'etena lechad luchot ha'even. When Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu, and I will give you the tablets of stone, ve'ha-Torah, and the Torah, ve'ha-mitzvah, and the commandment. Asher katavti lehorotam, that I wrote them for you to teach them to the Jewish people. So comes the Gemara 9, it's going to discuss, it's going to dissect every single word. What does each word mean? What is it coming to teach us? So whenever it said luchot, whenever it said the tablets, elu aseret adibrot, that was going on the 10 commandments. When it says Torah in the verse, if you see it's actually quoted, ze mikra, that is actually chumash. If you look into Rashi, Rashi says ze mikra chumash. She mitzvah likrot batorah, because there is a mitzvah to recite the Torah, which is the chumash. Veha mitzvah, whenever it says Veha mitzvah and the commandments, zo mishnah, that is the mishnah. Rashi says zo mishnah shit asku ba mishnah. People should occupy themselves with mishnah, meaning they should learn mishnayot also. But it's not regular learning like it's not like regular reading like you do with the Torah. The Torah you read. The Mishnah, you have to already be occupied in it. You have to already be osik. You have to be dealing with understanding the Mishnah. When it says Asher katavti, that which I wrote, Elu nivi'im ukitavim. This is going on the prophets and the writings. Lehorotam, when it says the word to teach them, Ze Talmud, that's going on the Talmud. Rashi says, Ze Talmud, Svarat ta'ameh mishnayot, that is the logic of the reasons of the Mishnayot. Shemimenu yutza'ah hora'ah. From it comes halachot, meaning from it comes the original teachings. Aval hamor'im hora'ah min ha-mishnah. But anybody who teaches a halacha from the Mishnah, nikra'u mavvalei ha'olam. They are called the destroyers of the world. B'masechet Sotah Daf Chavbet Amur Aleph. You look into Masechet Sotah Daf Chavbet Amur Aleph, over there it says that. The Rabotai, this is actually very, very severe. A lot of times it's not only Mishnah, read the Gemara says Mishnah, how much more so anything else. When you don't know Rabotai, when you're not learning the Tur, Beit Yosef, the Darkei Moshe, the Shulchan Aruch, the Nosei Kelim, and you just take an English book or even a Hebrew book, which is in short, thinking you got it, and you start making Psak halachot from there, Rabotai, that's called Mavlei Olam. You are destroyers of the world because you guys don't understand what's going on. You understand what? Yeah, Mutar Asur, yes, this, that. But you can't make Psak halachot from those halachot. Whatever they said is allowed, not allowed. You're not allowed to turn on the hot water. Good, you're not allowed to turn on the hot water. But you don't know why you're not allowed to. What's the situation? When am I going to be allowed to? You don't know that. So you can't start now making inferences from that halakha. If you can't do it from Mishnah, how much more so you can't do from anything else? So we see over here, also, the Gemara says, Melamed comes to teach you, Shukulam nitnu leMoshe b'Sinai. This verse comes to teach us that everything was given to Moshe Rabbeinu from Har Sinai, from the mountain of Sinai. So we see when it says "Etana lechad luchot ha'evim v'haTorah v'mitzvot asher katavti lehorotam," luchot goes on the Aseret HaDiberot, on the 10 commandments. Torah goes on Chumash, that there is a mitzvah to recite the Chumash. V'hamitzvah, the commandments, that's the Mishnah. A person should occupy, he should toil in the Mishnah. When it says Asher Katavti, that which I wrote, Elu Nevi'im U'Ketuvim, that is going on the prophets and the writings. Basically, you have the whole Tanakh over here. Lehorotam Ze Talmud, that's going on the Talmud, meaning when it says that you have to teach them. Rabotai, I'm telling you, this Rashi is very important. Ze Talmud, that's why it's very important that a person should learn Gemara. As you guys see, whenever we do the Mishnah, the Gemara comes and it breaks down the logic of the Mishnah. It gives you the reasons of understanding how the Mishnah works. Without the Gemara, it's very hard to understand the Mishnah. So that's what he says. Ze Talmud Svarat Ta'ameh Mishnayot. It is the logic. It is the logical reasons of the Mishnah. Shebemenu Yutzah Horah. From it comes out teachings. When we say over here Horah, Horah literally means to teach. But it's more like Pesach Halacha. From Talmud we make halachot. Aval hamorim hora'ah, but anybody's going to teach hora'ah, anybody's going to make a halacha, mina Mishnah from the Mishnah itself, nikru'u mavlei ha'olam. They are called the destroyers of the world. So Rabotai, we do see from over here, from one verse, you clearly see everything was given to Moshe Rabbeinu. A lot of times you have a person, they say, oh, Hashem only gave Moshe Rabbeinu the 10 Commandments. Not true. Hashem gave Moshe Rabbeinu Tanakh, Mishnah, and Talmud. Everything was given to Moshe Rabbeinu on Har Sinai. This is the proof. Now, Rabotai, I know that there's 2 dots, but let's continue a little bit more. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. Rabbi Yitzchak said, Kol hakoreh kriyas Shema al mitato. Anybody who's going to recite the Shema on his bed, Ki'ilu ochez cherev shel shtei piot biyado. It's as if he's holding a sword with 2 edges in his hand. Sheneimar, like the pasuk says, Romot el bigeronam v'cherev piot biyadam. Right, Rabotai. Now let's go see the pasuk. Let's go to Ot Dal in the Torah or Shalom. He says, look into Tehillim Kuf Mem Tet, verse Vav. Okay, there's also going to be another pasuk over there in Kuf Mem Tet, verse 5. So we'll do them both right now. So therefore we don't have to come back and forth. So let's just do the first one today. Let's do the first one now. When it says Remamot el Bigronam, the lofty praises of God are in their throats. V'cherev bepiyot biyadam, and the sword of edges is in their hand. So comes the commentary and he says like this: Remamot el Bigronam, when it says that the lofty praises of Hashem are in their throats, what does that mean? So he says, Bigronam yisipru remamot el. In their throats they're gonna speak about the loftiness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'zeh tiyeh lecher pipiyot biyadam, and this will be for them a sword of edges in their hand. Ratzon Lomar, he means to say with that, Al yidei zeh, through this, through having praises of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in their throats, yitgibru al ha'oyev, they're going to overpower the enemy. Ki'ilu achzu biyadam, it's as if they were holding in their hand cherev b'piyot. What does cherev b'piyot mean? So he tells over here, cherev ha'moshchaz mishnei tzedadav. You have a sword which is sharpened from both sides. So we see from over here when it says Remot el Bigronam v'cherev b'piyot biyadam, Remot, when the people, when they're going to speak about, which we'll see it's going on the Hasidim, when they're going to speak about the greatness, the lofty praise of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's going to be a double-edged sword in their hand. By them saying praises to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's going to save them, that's going to make them win against the enemies. Let's see also Kuf Mem Tet in verse Hey, right on top of that. Yazu Chassidim b'chavod, yiranenu al mishkevotam. Yazu Chassidim b'kavod. the Hasidim, meaning the pious ones, they shall rejoice in honor, Yiranenu al mishkevotam, and they shall sing on their bed. What does that mean? So the commentary says, Bechavod yismechu be'avur kavod haba me'Hashem. Yazu Hasidim bechavod, is saying like this: they will be happy because of the honor that is coming to them from Hashem. That's what means Yazu Hasidim bechavod. The pious people, they're going to be happy, they're going to rejoice for the honor that they're going to receive from Hashem Himself. Can you imagine? You get honor from low lives, Rabbota, you're happy. From HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I don't want to compare the two. But they're happy because they're doing the right thing. They want honor to come from Hashem. They don't want honor to come from other people. Al mishkevotam, what does it mean? Yiranenu al mishkevotam, they're going to sing on their bed. Al menuchatam, they're going to sing on their tranquility, on their peace of mind. V'retzonu lomar, and he wants to say, Yiranenu leHashem, they're going to sing to Hashem, kishihiyu be'artzam b'menucha, when they're going to be in their land at peace, with tranquility, where nobody's going to attack them. So let's go back to Daf Hey Amud Aleph. So one more time. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak said, Kol hakoreh Kriya Shema al mitato, anybody's going to recite the Kriya Shema on his bed, ki ilu ochez cherev shel shtei pipiyot biyado, it's as if he's holding a double-edged sword in his hand. He says over here, Rashi says, ki ilu ochez cherev shel shtei pipiyot biyado, shel shtei piyot biyado, laharog et hamezikim, to go ahead and kill the damagers, meaning the spiritual damagers. So it comes out of it, this one Rabbi Yitzchak is telling us now with the Rashi's understanding, Kol hakoreh Kriya Shema al mitato, anybody's going to recite the Kriya Shema, meaning the Kriya Shema al mitah, before he goes to sleep, ki ilu ochez cherev shel shtei piyot biyado, it's as if you're holding a double-edged sword, and with that you're going to kill, with the Shema, you're going to kill the spiritual damagers. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Rememot el bigronam v'cher b'piyot b'yadam, like we just saw with the Hasidim, that we'll see is since they went ahead and they praised Hashem through their throats, that's as if they were holding a double-edged sword and they were able to win against the enemy. Same thing with us. By us saying Shema at the night before we go to sleep, we are holding a double-edged sword and we're killing the Mezikim, so they shouldn't bother us during our sleep. Because you have to remember, Abotai, when we go to sleep, our neshama leaves us. Anything could happen, chas v'shalom. By you saying Shema, when you take Kriya Shema al mitah, you are making like as if you are in an aquarium. You're protecting yourself from these damages. That's your spiritual. How do you say? That's your spiritual protection. The Gemara asked a question 1 second. By mashma, I say, I don't get how's that implied? How do you see from this verse when it says that Rememot el bigronam v'cher b'yadam, that from that verse comes out that if you say Shema, it's going to kill all the Mazikim. Where do you see it? So if you look into Rashi, Rashi says, my mashma. If you look into Haggadah Ritzunim in the Od Bet, you have to put the word over there, smach. So you have to read like this. My mashma smach the B'Kriya Shema. How do we see, how is it implied from this verse that it's a support for Kriya Shema? That anybody who's going to go ahead and say Kriya Shema, it's as if he's holding a double-edged sword and he's going to kill the Mazikim. But how do you see it from the words? How do you see it from the verse of Remot al b'gronam v'cher b'yadam that this verse is coming to prove what Rabbi Yitzchak said, that anybody who says Shema on the bed is as if he's holding a double-edged sword? How do you see it from that verse? Amar Marzutra said, Rav Ashi, and some say it was Rav Ashi who said it. Mereisha de inyana. You have to go from the beginning of the matter. Dichtiv, because it's written, what we just did. Ya'alzu chasadim b'chavod. The chasadim, they're going to rejoice with the honor that they're going to get from Hashem. Yiranenu al mishkevotam. And they're going to sing on their beds. Let me see Rashi. There's no Rashi on this. Uchtiv batren, it's written after that. Remamot el bigronam v'cherev pipiyot biyadam. And it's written after that they're gonna praise Hashem in their throat and they're gonna have a double-edged sword in their hand. So how do we see from over here that this is referring to Shema? Very simple. When it says over there, Ya'alzu chasadim b'chavod, Yiranu al mishkevotam, on their beds. And we know, Rabotai, how's this going in Kriya Shema? Because it says, Ubishoch bucha, when you lie down in Kriya Shema. So over here, when it says, Yalzu chasidim bechvod yiranu al mishkevotam, it's going on Kriya Shema because of the word Ubishoch bucha, which says when you lie down. Where are you going to lie down? On your bed. Good, it says over here also, al mishkevotam. So we see from over here, oh, you have Kriya Shema. And right after that, it's written, good, you see clearly you have Shema, and now you have the double-edged sword. So anybody who says Shema before going to sleep, it's as if you're holding a double-edged sword and you are killing, not you're pushing the mazikim away. Like we'll see the next opinion is going to say. According to Rashi, he says, it's as if you're holding a sword of two edges in his hand, to kill the mazikim, so they shouldn't bother you. That's the way Rashi understands this piece. Rabbi Yitzchak said, anybody who recites Kriya Shema on his bed, mazikin bidilin hemen. You see, he has a different understanding. He tells us over here, Rabbi Yitzchak wants to tell us, anybody who recites Kriya Shema on his bed, the mazikim, they're going to stay away from him. But we learned it over here when you're holding the edge according to... One second, but that's the same Rabbi Yitzchak. 1 second. Just something hit me 1 second. Let me see. How could it be the same Rabbi Yitzchak? How can it be the same Rabbi Yitzchak is saying that Kol HaKoreh Kriya Shema al mitato ki ilu ochez cherushal shtei piyot biyado, to kill the mazikin, but then the Rabbi Yitzchak says again, Kol HaKoreh Kriya Shema al mitato mazikin b'dilin hemenu. The mazikin, they're going to stay away from him. All right, now I'm going to probably look it up with another, but that question just hit me right now. What I'm thinking, in my humble opinion, when the first statement of Rabbi Yitzchak, when it says Kol HaKoreh Kriya Shema al mitato ki ilu ochez cherev shel shtei piyot biyado, and when Rashi says laharok et hamazikin, to kill the mazikin, we have to say maybe from the damages that a person has already created. And then when it says another statement by Rabbi Yitzchak, Kol HaKoreh Kriya Shema al mitato mazikin bidilin hemenu, maybe he's not speaking about your personal damage that you created. Maybe he's speaking about spiritual damage that are always out there flying and all around. They're trying to harm people. That's going to protect you from them. Maybe, Rabotai, maybe. I will double check this bill in Hashem. But it's a good something that hit me just now. Okay. In any event, let's continue back. Rabbi Yitzchak said, Kol HaKoreh Kriya Shema al mitato, anybody who recites Kriya Shema on his bed, mazikin b'dilin hemenu, the damagers, the spiritual damagers, they're going to stay away from him. Shenemar, how do we know that? Because the pasuk says, Ubnei Reshev yagbihu uf, and the children of Reshev, they're going to go upwards. We're going to see this pasukim right now. Ve'en uf ela Torah, and we see from over here, and the word uf is only referring to Torah. We'll see that also. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Hata'if enecha bo ve'enenu, blink your eyes and it's gone. We'll see that also. Ve'en reshev ela mazikin, and also when it says the word reshev, that's going on the mazikin, the damagers. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, mezei ra'av uluchmei reshev v'ketev miririm. All right, Rabotai, we're gonna have to take each pasuk right now. I just read it. Let's take the pasukim, understand it, and come back right over here. Let's just see over here. We're gonna start from. We have Ot Vav, Ot Zayin, and Ot Chet in the Torah or Shalom. Vav, Zayin, and Chet. So we're going to go to Iyov, Perikei, Pasuk Zayin. Perikei, Pasuk Zayin. Let's see that. Okay. It says it like this. In Perikei, Pasuk Zayin, I have it in the Sefer Mikraot, in page Yutet. He says, Ki Adam la'amal yulad. A person is born to toil. That is the way we learn it. But the commentary is not going to learn it like that. When it says over here, Ki Adam la'amal yulad, he wants to learn it that a person is born for trouble. Meaning to say that the nature of every single person is chas v'shalom rabotai, hardships and struggles. These things are part of life. Alright, so that's what he wants under ki adam la'amal yulad. A person is born for trouble, meaning for hardships and struggle. Ubnei reshev, and the sons of reshev. We'll see what reshev is, because reshev are angels and spirits. We'll see that. Yagbihu uf, they go upwards. So let's see what the commentary says on this. Adam la'amal yulad. A person is born for trouble, for hardships, for struggles. Why? Ki efshar shelo yichteh. Because it's impossible for a person not to sin. We're not angels. People sin. V'im ken, if so, mikabel amal bechet'o, he's going to receive the trouble for his sin, likabel pur'anuto, to receive the sufferings for that sin. So clearly, see over here, Rabotai, when it says ki adam la'amal yulad, the person is born for trouble or for hardship or struggle. Why is a person born for it? Because a person cannot be without sinning, because we're not angels. Since he cannot be without sinning, that's why he receives the trouble because of the sin. So you see clearly, sinning is what brings a person problems and a suffering and a hardships, chas v'shalom. Likabel pur'anuto, to go ahead and accept, to receive the suffering because of the sin. So really, Hashem doesn't want to give it to you. Because of the sin, you bring it on yourself. That's what it means, ki adam la'amal yulad. What does it mean, ubnei reshev, and the sons of reshev? What does that mean? Uben adam eino ki bnei reshev. People are not like reshev, which is what? Shehem malachim v'ruchot. Reshev are angels and spirits. Shehem yagbihu la'uf, that they're always going upward. Ve'enam min hatachtonim, and they're not from the people that are from the bottom world. L'shlot bahem satan v'yetahara, where the yetahara and the satan is going to rule over them. Basically, he's trying to tell us over here that the word ubnei reshev are malachim and ruchot. That's what we want to see. So if we're going to go back over here to the Gemara, where it says over here, Am Rabbi Yitzchak kol hakol kriya shema al mitato. Anybody's going to recite the kriya shema on his bed, mazikin bidilin himenu, the spiritual damagers, they stay away from him. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, ubnei reshev yagbiu uf. Now we can understand this. When it says ubnei reshev yagbiu uf, it says, and the angels or the spirits, they're going upward. But now the Gemara defines the word ve'uf. Ve'en uf elo Torah. When it says the word uf in the pasuk, when it says yagbiu uf, it's going on Torah. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Hata'if einecha bo ve'enenu. Close your eyes and it's gone. If you look into Torah or Shalom in Ot Zayin, he says, look into Mishlei Chav Gimel, verse Hey. I have it on page Yud Chet in the Sefer Mikraot. So he says over here, Hata'if einecha bo, should you blink your eyes at it? Ve'enenu, and it's gone, and it isn't. There's nothing there. Ki asa ya'aselo can find, because it made for itself wings. Kanesher, like an eagle. Ya'uf hashamayim, is going to fly up towards heaven. So how does the commentary learn this? Rabotai, listen to this powerful musar. Ma batza be'osher. What benefit is there in wealth? In a person accumulating wealth. Hello, but isn't it true, Rabotai? Lifamim, at times, avuda b'sha'akala gets lost in a short time span. Odecha tit'ana'a enecha listakel bo. While you are still moving your eyes to look at it, meaning at the money, ve'enenu, and it isn't there. Ki pitom, because suddenly, yo'avad, it got lost. Uki'ilu asal la'atzmo kenefayim la'uf mimcha. It's as if it made for itself wings to fly away from you. Chayish maher, quickly. Kenesher hazeh hamaher la'uf l'tzad hashemayim. Like this eagle that hastens to fly towards the heaven. V'nikaseh me'ha'ayin, and it gets it gets it gets covered from the eye. He says here the word hata'if lashon tinu'ah. It's a language of expression of moving your eyes. So basically, like when you move your eyes, when you blink, just you move your eyes, it's gone. But if we look over here, look back over here to the Gemara Daf Hey Amud Aleph. If you look what Rashi says, listen how scary this is. Hata'if einecha bo. Over there, where you saw is going on money. Comes Rashi and he tells you it's going on Torah. If you're going to close your eyes from it, hata'if einecha bo. 1 second, let me just see something. Where is this? Shh. Inside, I just want to make sure. Right. Okay. Over here, Rashi wants to explain. Hata'if einecha bo mean like this. Im tichpol v'sagarta einecha batorah. When it says hata'if einecha bo, it doesn't mean that you should blink your eyes. When it says you should, it's okay. Let me do the Rashi first. Im tichpol, if you're going to double your eyelashes, meaning if you're going to blink, v'sagarta einecha batorah, and you closed your eyes from the Torah. Look into Haggadah V'Nitunim in Ot Gimel. He says ve'enenu. You gotta put that word over there ve'enenu, because that's what is going on. He mishtekachad mimcha. What does it mean ve'enenu? It isn't. It's going to be forgotten from you. Rabotai, Rashi wants to learn that this is going on Torah. This pasuk over here, hata'if einecha bo. If you're going to blink your eyes from it, from Torah, if you're going to blink your eyes right now, you say, I'm learning right now, I blink my eyes. He says you should know he mishtekachad mimcha. It's going to be forgotten from you. That's you always got to go back and review. So one more time. Hata'if einecha bo. If you're going to go ahead and blink on it. Im tichpol v'sagarta einecha batorah. If you're going to blink and close your eyes in Torah, ve'enenu hi mishtekachad mimcha. You should know it's going to be forgotten from you. So let's go back to the Gemara. Ve'amar Rabbi Yitzchak said, Kol hakoreh Kri Shema al mitato. Anybody who's going to recite the Kri Shema on the bed, mazikin bidilin hemenu. The spiritual damages, they're going to stay away from him. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Ubnei reshev yagbihu uf. And the angels and the spirits, they're going to go upwards, they're going to fly upwards. But the Gemara allows you to understand the word uf a different way. Ve'en uf, the word uf in the verse, Ela Torah is going on Torah. Sheneimar, like the pasuk says, Hata'if einecha bo ve'enenu. If you close your eyes from it, meaning from Torah, it's gone, it gets forgotten from you. So we see over here the word uf, it means Torah because it says Hata'if einecha bo. If you're going to blink and close your eyes in Torah, it's gone. It's going to be forgotten from you. So we see over here, number one, that the word uf means Torah. Now we want to understand the word reshev. Ve'en reshev, whenever it says in the pasuk ubnei reshev, whenever it says reshev, we defined it as angels and spirits. So comes the Gemara says ve'en reshev, ela mazikin. Those are the spiritual damagers. You're right, they're angels, but they're bad angels. They're demons. How do we know that this reshev here is a bad demon? Sheneimar, like the pasuk says, mezeh ra'av uluchumei reshev v'ketev miriri. Let's go see that pasuk. Let's see in Ot Chet, Devar Lamed Bet, pasuk Chavdalad. Devar Lamed Bet, pasuk Chavdalad. Rabotai, do you see the difference when you learn going back and forth, how clear it becomes versus just running through it and thinking you understood? You don't even can make the connection one word to the other. But you understood the content. No, but you'll be able to repeat like this, you'll be able to repeat it. Shh, what do we say? Lamed Bet? Lamed Bet Chavdalad. Okay. Okay, I have it on page 10 in the Sefer HaMikraot. He says, Mezeh Ra'av. What is Mezeh Ra'av? So now you have to understand, Rabotai, Hashem told us to Moshe Rabbeinu what's going to happen to the Jewish people if they're going to do Avodah Zarah. So his Mezeh Ra'av is Nafuchei Ra'av. That means that they're going to be swollen by famine. What does it mean, swollen? How does a person become swollen by famine? It's not that he's going to become swollen, but it's a language of that is the devastating effect that famine can have on a person. That's what it means, swollen by famine. That's what Mezeh Ra'av means, swollen by famine. The devastating effect that famine is going to have on them. Ulechamei reshev. Here we go. We want to learn the word reshev. Ulechamei reshev, hashedim nilchamu bahem. Rabotai, hashedim, the reshev over here is shed, is the demon that they're going to wage war with them. They're going to start fighting with them, meaning the Jewish people. What's viketev miriri? Viketev miriri, lashon kirita. It's a language of cutting off, language of destruction. Vikirito, the shed shishemo miriri. This demon that destroys, his name is miriri. So when you see over there when it says viketev miriri, you should know that is the miriri is the name of the demon that's gonna cause destruction. Vished behemot, when it says in the pasuk vished, the teeth of animals, kimash more like a simple understanding that Hashem is going to send against the Jewish people not only wild animals, but even their own sheep, their own cows. They're going to bite them and they're going to die. So he says vished behemot, ashaleich bam. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm going to send on them. The commentary says Israel on the Jewish people. Kishi ya'avdu. When is it going to happen? Kishi ya'avdu avodah zarah, when they're going to do avodah zarah. Im chamat zochale afar, with the fury, with the anger of the one that crawls on the ground, meaning the snake. He says over here, Eres nechashim mehalchim al gechonam al hafar. It is the poison of the snakes that walk on their belly, on the dirt. Zichila lashon miritza. When it says the language of zichila, when it says chamad zochale afar, when it says the language zichila, it's going on lashon miritzat kol davara mishpashpesh al, something that moves and rubs on the afar veholech. Basically, zichila is the language of crawling on one's stomach. So now that we know this, let's go back to the Gemara Daf amud aleph. So let's see this one more time. When it says "Ataiv necha bo ve'enenu ve'en reshev ela mazikin," and the reshev is mazikin, are the damages. How do we know? Shenema, like the pasuk says, mezei ra'av, that is the famine is going to be very devastating. Uluchumei reshev, and reshev is going to come. That's reshev, which is the shed, which is going to come and is going to fight against the Jewish people. Viketev mariri, and the shed name is who's going to cause the destruction is Ketev. But we see over here the reshev is the mazikin, is the damager. So what do we see from over here? Because what did Rabbi Yitzchak say? Rabbi Yitzchak said, Kol hakorei kri shemal mitato mazikin bidilin hemenu. How? Very simple. Shenemar ubnei reshev yagbiu uf. That now we know bnei reshev means the demons. What's going to make the demons fly away from you? It is the uf. What is the uf? The Torah. Which is what? When you're saying Shema, those are words of Torah also. So the words of Torah are going to be able to push away the spiritual damages from you. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe you can say, like I said before, but also I can add another pshat. Maybe Rabbi Yitzchak is teaching you two things. Not only does it kill the damage, but it can't kill all the damages, but it can also go ahead and it can make them fly away from that they shouldn't damage you. Maybe that can also be another pshat. So, Rabotai, we're going to stop right over here.